So I think we're going to end up using using the code to actually write our modules, which is not a problem at all. So I'm just going to go and open up my server, and I want us to actually use Notepad++ instead. The only reason why we're doing this is because we can't get Dreamweaver to connect to my server, which is fine. We're going to do it the other way around. So there's a couple of steps involved in actually creating a login page and creating a website for logging. And the first one we've already done, and this is for creating a a a database that we can use to actually get, if I can go and open my PHP admin, we created a database called, I'm just going to log in. We created a database. Just want to go to we called it database underscore test33, and this database we're going to use to actually for our logging members. Next thing I want to create is members, and this is basically the table inside of the database that we're going to use to actually get our members to log into our site. Okay, so I'm just going to drag this over here, go to test 33, and you'll see when I click on test 33, you'll see I've got, let me just expand this and see what's going on here. So if we expand it, will show you the tables below it, or it's supposed to. Okay, so it looks like the table that we created just now didn't respond, so I'm just going to recreate a table called members. I'm going to say create. Now, the steps that we want to do is we want to create a table called members in the database called test underscore 33. Then we're going to create a main underscore login.php. Then we're going to create a check login.php. Then we're going to create a login success PHP, and we're going to create a logout PHP. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to go and create a table. Now this was an easy way of creating the table, and I'm going to actually show you the script way of creating the table. So I'm going to click on SQL. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell SQL, I'm going to make sure that there's no table created. So currently I've got no table created. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say create table. Then I'm going to say what kind of table do we want created. So we're going to create the table called members. Then I'm going to open up my curly brackets, and I'm going to say ID. Okay, because we want ID. We're always in a database wants an ID. So we're going to say int for integer 4, and we're going to say not null, and we're going to say auto increment. Now basically what I did there is I told it that I want to create a table called members, and every database table has got a unique ID. Okay, that's how it differentiate between the items inside of the table. So we said ID, and then we said integer of 4 characters. We said not null. That means that there should be a character inside of the specific table item. Meaning not null if you can't move away from the specific table item without adding anything. We're also going to say auto increment, which auto increment means that it needs to auto increment the specific error. So it's going to add a value to it automatically. We as a user don't need to worry about it. Then I'm going to say comma, and I'm going to say username. And then I'm going to say what do we want the username to be? We want to be a variable character. So varchar and we want to make sure it's 65. We get 65 characters only, and once again, we don't want it to be not null, and we want it to be at the default. So I'm going to close my curly bracket. I'm going to kind of what? Close my I'm gonna close my no, just I lost sound there. What's going on? I'm gonna close my quotation marks, and then I'm going to make a comma. Then I'm gonna say, okay, I want password, and then I'm going to add a var char of 65 characters. I'm gonna say not null. Then I'm gonna close that, and then I'm gonna say the primary key. So every single table has got a primary key, and we're going to make the primary key, we're going to set that to ID. And then I'm going to close my brackets again. And then I'm going to tell it type equals myIsm auto increment by 2. Okay, and then I'm just going to take that away, and I'm going to hit go. Oh, I knew that there's going to be a little bit of an error. It's not a problem. So I'm just repasting. Oh, this is a mess. I'm just going to remove what we've just created. Just going to undo. I'm just going to quickly explain to you what we've done here. So we basically said create table, the name members. Then we said ID. Then we made, that was our first table though, or the first table cell that we created. Then we said, okay, well, integer only 4 characters. That means that it's an integer, and we've already discussed what integer is. I'm not going to waste any more time on that. We said it's going to be 4 values, and we also said that the value should be not null. We also then added that it should be an auto incrementation, which means that it needs to autofill the property of that specific cell. Then we said we want to create another cell, and this another cell is called username, and the variable character is 65. That means that there can only be 65 characters inside of that specific username cell. Then we went and said it shouldn't be null. That means that the database will not accept nothing inside of this specific cell. Then we said it needs to be set by default. Then we went and added a new table cell, and we called it password. In the password, we said the var char should be 65 characters, a not null value, which means that there should be something inside of it, and a default, which means that it's back to default. Then we went and in databases, you always want to set a primary key, and a primary key is basically where you go, okay, well, the key of the database is ID. And remember, we said ID is auto incremented, which means that this cell is defined by its ID. So the primary key is the ID, and we said oh, this is not important, but that is how we create the table. Now the SQL way is creating it this way. I'm going to show you another way of doing this. So we would go to the database in MySQL PHP, and we'd say over here we'd say members, So I'm going to show you the GUI part of this now. So I'm going to create the member section, and this is how we would create the member section.